Let's see. All right. So like I said, it is earlier evening, like 6, 7 p.m.-ish sort of time. What's kind of a sun here in the Outlands, it's, I don't, depending on where everybody's from, but perhaps Vendrick might remember it when he was a human. Seda T, but both of you remember it from your prime material realm. What's here in the Outlands, it sort of resembles a sun. It's this glowing orb of light in the sky, but it has this reddish yellow sort of hue to it. It seems almost unnatural, but it still gives off the sort of light that you would expect from a sun. It does give off a bit of warmth. It's just very discomforting sort of feeling. But you can see that it's sort of on what would be the horizon here of the town as night starts to settle. Everybody had your proper permits. They gave you all name badges that you had to put onto your chest. As long as you filled out the proper name, that's what it'd have. It'd have whatever you put down as your name. You have a pile of papers in your hand ready to go in case anybody needs it. And they all sent you to the Divine Machine. They gave you a simple address, and as you walk down the street, you pass by all sorts of different people, mostly human for the most part. There's a lot of Modrons walking around, which look like little circular orbs, a single eye in the center of it with a really wide mouth. They have 2 tiny little angelic wings that sprout from their back and real stick figure-like legs and arms. They all carry a little sword around, but they march in perfect unison with another. And as you watch them, you'll see each step is taken with, in order with these guys. They blink at the same time. They seem to move exactly, almost as one large unit or a hive mind of sorts. And all the people, you can recognize those who were traveling and out of town, both from the pile of papers that they usually have carrying around, as well as them badges that they have on their chest. But everybody that is here in the town normally has basically like yellow tunics, yellow robes, or some sort of clothing that's basically yellow and brown, almost exactly similar. It might be pants, or it might be robes, or it might be vests, whatever the case might be, but the same colors, same designs. Everybody seems very polite as you walk down the street. They'll at least greet you, and they'll nod, smile. The address they give you for the Divine Machine, you can see up ahead, looks like every other building here, which is just square, white, plain marble. Doors are made out of, seem to be some sort of heavy, dark-colored wood. And each one will have a simple little number or a designation of what the building is. And you can see the Divine Machine up ahead. Before you get to that, though, as you're walking along, Vendrick, and you're looking at these people, these Modrons, you can feel the sort of uncomfortable aspect of all the order here, especially with your own chaotic sort of personality. But you'll feel almost like somebody's tapping you on the shoulder. And if you look over, you don't see anybody, but you can hear a book in the back of your skull saying, Vendrick, right here, to the right. And if you look over, you can see this building. It's called Thaydon Smoked Meats. It says, "This is Huron's office. Let's go. We got to go in."
Thaydon Smoked Meats. I remember enjoying meats back in my previous life. Is it just a front for his other business in the back book?
No. This is his office. This is where I was created. He made me here. This isn't a smoked meat shop.
Yes, this place is most strange with his naming. Numbers everywhere. Very few words. I believe your book. Let me see if the others are nearby. Zon. This is my stop, Zon. You burped. This is my stop. Would you like to come along, or shall I venture on by myself? Either is acceptable.
Are you sure? I point at the sign.
I tap the satchel on my back. I am most sure, Zon. I've been informed by book.
You can smell the delicious smoked hams and bacons and other meats in the air that seems to be wafting out of this place. You'll see a woman step out, and the door's just kind of like that swinging kitchen door, and she steps out. Inside, you can see what looks to be a smoked meat shop. You definitely smell the deliciousness of it.
Delicatessen. I wish I could taste the sweet, succulent meats. It was a favorite of mine. To roast lovely meats over the pit Unfortunately, it's been a decade and a half, or a century and a half, rather. I lost track of time. Since I've tasted such delicious juices upon my tongue.
Maybe
How
you
about
should
you,
try
Zon?
some.
Well, your cold is awfully bad, and then she reaches into her little pouch and she brings like a piece of what looks like rock candy type stuff, and she's like, "Here's a cough drop, because you sound like you have a cold, and this probably will help you taste the meats a lot better. And by the way, can we go too? Because I smell bacon."
Certainly, Zeta. Follow me. Book will lead the way.
And Tiva steps up. She's, I'm rather hungry as well. I wouldn't mind going.
Well then,
Yes.
go ahead.
Shall we? I start to walk in that direction. All the while reaching out to Book for any further guidance, telepathically.
You get this sense of sort of excitement mixed with confusion. You're almost getting the emotions of Book as you step closer and closer. You just push open this door, step inside. You see this large half-orc behind the counter. Has the big butcher shop sort of apron on. Meats are all lined up along the countertop. Over in the one corner, you can see several fire pits and hearths going with different meats hanging above it. Some of them cooking more succulently, other ones being smoke dried and preserved. He'll watch as you enter, and you get this sense of just utter confusion from Book. He says, "This is not right."
How long has it been since you've called this place home, Book? Are you as confused with time as much as I?
No, I keep track of time quite perfectly.
What has changed? This does not look like a place, a print shop for manufacturing magical books, Book. Thadon, is it? I point and look to the half-orc.
He'll nod. Says, "What can I do you for?"
It seems I have some confusion, Master Thadon. Butcher of meats. I was under the impression that this was once a place of a gentleman by the name of Huron Countess Plethorus. Does he no longer reside here?
No, I bought the shop roughly 2 years ago. Huron, he done left the place empty, packed up all the shit and done gone. Said I made it into what it is now. Got some excellent bacon, pork ribs, plenty of meats, but the one you look for is no longer here. I never met the man, but I presume he's gone.
Would you happen to have the order of sale percent, maybe an address? Some type of legislation. This seems like a place filled with legislation, for I just spent 8 hours filling out paperwork to get into the gate. Surely a property such as this, a fine delicacy such as this, could not be sold to you without proper paperwork.
Says the paperwork. Step back, leads down behind the counter, and then just brings up this massive tome that he pops down. It's probably about 3 inches thick of papers. Says, "Everything you need's right here." Says, "Proper forms filled, done as required. You ask me, it's a load of shit, but I do what I have to do."
Says, I do not want to cause chaos in such a place of order such as this. I will get some meats, meet my friends. They are more interested in the smells wavering into the streets outside. If you may, I will look through your papers.
Most certainly, gentlemen. Slide this thick tome of books over us and sort of less of you sort of look around and just gather up what you want, and I'll slice it how you need it. And you'll sort of slide down the counter where you're looking at this book and lean forward next to you, Vendrick. "What interest do you have in Huron? I hear he wasn't the most legal of folks, if you get my drift."
My only understanding is that he made a plethora of books. I've heard something about a innumerable, infinity number of books made by this man. I am a collector of books. That is all. I wish to potentially procure and purchase some more books from this fine craftsman.
This is, yes, I heard quite the same. Well, I'm not much of a book man myself. My wife filled out most of this stuff. Between you and I can't read very well. But, well, like I said, he wasn't the most legal of folks. A lot of stuff was pushed under the counter and hidden away. And a man by the name of Legisgrog came through. Don't speak his name in the streets. He's the type of person that will find you if you actually seek him. But
didn't Zephyr look for that man?
I believe it is one and the same. The one involved in his investigation. We were told during our process of entering this fine township that one Linda Scrogg is somewhat of a crime lord of the underworld.
He's not somewhat, he is the underworld. He's, as I said, the type of man you don't ask for. If he wants to find you or you want to find him, it'll be done. Preferably at the end of his blade.
Yes, we do not want that. We are just simply looking to purchase books and fine meats. And I put 30 silver pieces. Some jink for your troubles, Master Smokesman. Thadon, your wife's penmanship is immaculate.
So give me, how about just a basic search roll? And we can kind of go from there, see what you got.
Sure.
For all of us, or?
Oh, no, just for him looking through this
Okay.
booklet of paper.
Let me just re-soak it. 1 on a d6, and I rolled a 4.
All right. So as you flip through this thing, you can see it's just pages upon pages upon pages. It will take you days to read all this stuff, but you're able to come up with a few different little things. It was signed over roughly 2 years ago, technically 27 months ago, from Huron, a Countess Plethris, over to this Thadal. Everything looks to be in order as far as that goes. Huron's signatures, everywhere he was supposed to sign, is left blank, though. So it was assumed you get the sense either he didn't sign it willingly or he basically forfeited this building, one of the two. Like I said, that's 27 months ago. It was listed as Huron, a Countess Plethris of Automata before, and it was one Huron's bookshop and scribbery before. Not able to really pull out too much unless you're looking for something specific.
Yeah, I'm just looking for an address, but I'm going to reach out to Book as I'm doing this. And
Book, did Huron reside here? Or did he have a residence outside of his shop? That's what I'm looking for, Book.
No, this front of the shop was described as proper. To the back, where that door is, that led to just a simple housing, what you would call maybe an apartment or a lodge, just a simple bed and kitchen, nothing of fanciness.
I understand, but that is most unfortunate, for it seems the man has left no trace, and we will have to go to the underworld. An underworld in a place made of law and order should be most interesting.
This orc, it seems strange. Everything I knew of Huron, when from what I remember of him, he followed all the laws. He wasn't one to skirt the rules. So this is unlike Huron. This is not the man I remember the way this Theda describes him.
Very well. I will maybe ask this man a few more questions, but first I'm going to give my friends and companions a chance to enjoy his fine meats.
And I take out my spell book and I start to examine, kind of lackadaisically, as if it's no big deal. I'm not trying to make it look like I'm ready to cast a spell per se. But I'm going to, I have one more casting of second level spell. So I'm going to try and discreetly cast ESP again on the smoke shop owner, given an opportunity.
Yeah, he doesn't seem. I mean, he sort of watches, but he gets caught up helping the others look at their meats and things like that. So he's not really paying a whole lot of attention to it. You can catch that without being noticed without a problem. As you kind of delve into his brain or listen to what he's thinking and things like that, he's definitely interested in helping all of them go through their meets and stuff. And once you start talking with him again, you get the sense, as far as he knows and from what he can understand, he's telling the truth. His remembrance of Huron, and you get this picture of this man as he thinks about it. Looks, he's a human, probably like of average height, long gray hair and a long gray beard, and he wears just the simple yellowish colored robes of the town here. But he has piercing, bright green eyes, not glowing magically, but just extremely bright for what you would expect. And from what Thadon thinks of this man, he definitely comes across as unscrupulous or trying to skirt the laws, or not necessarily evil by any means or chaotic, but like there's a very strong emotional conflict within the man. So
what do you know of this Linda Scrogg? And I'm trying to put this image of Linda Scrogg in his mind to try and garner some thoughts of that individual. Do you know him? Do you happen to associate it with him in any way?
They don't hurry over. No. You can't be saying his name here, mate. It's not. You don't want to say his name. You can just call him the one.
The one. Do you know him? Do you know where I can find him? As you said, I know he can find me, but I would rather be the one to set forth the meeting, if you know what I mean.
I wish I knew. I've never dealt with the man. I've only heard rumors, and perhaps I've even seen him on the streets, and I simply don't know. And you do get like this flash of all different people, as if he doesn't really know who Lady Scrogg is, but you get this image of a Gith is the only one that really stands out. He says, I heard he was a Gith, but I don't know. He says, it's just like, it's as if he's something more than is just a name. He says, I don't know who he is or what he is, or just rumors and tales and stories of this king of the underworld.
Very good. But I do obviously not get the sense that this individual was given or put in the position he's in by Linda Scrogg in any way.
Oh, no, not at all. Nope.
Okay, that was one I was wondering. Okay, very well. There's no address. There's nothing I can gain from looking through these books anymore. I hand him back his ledger, thank him, and bid him adieu. I ask him if he could tell me anything about the lodging that we are about to go to, the Divine Machine. If there's anything I should know about that place before I go there. We are strangers to these lands. We do not want to offend people. Seems, as I said, a place where people are easily upset by people outstepping their bounds.
Says, well, tell you they got the finest meats because I provide it. Says, but the man who owns the place, a short little halfling named Torlak, very pleasant fellow, a bit whimsical, a bit strange sense of humor, but he follows the rules and does what he needs. Outside of that, the place is, well, mostly empty. The town here doesn't really look fond upon heavy drinking and partying in the whole aspect of such places. But they do go for a good, fine bit of a sandwich and meat now and then.
The name is most interesting to me. Divine. And I put emphasis on the divine part. Divine Machine. Why would you name such a place in such a way? What is the divinity of it?
Well, I was only just a wee little lad when I was told the story. But Torlak, if you ask him, he perhaps will even tell it to you. But from what I understand, he once was walking the road out in the outlands and came upon a place not unlike the inside is decorated, very home cabinish. he said there he met a halfling, a maiden that he fell in love with, but he could never marry. I don't remember her name. I think it was Buttercup or Butterfly or some such thing. Said, and he looked at her as the pinnacle of perfection, of a divine being. Nothing could be better or higher in scale. When he came back, he named the place after her. And, well, there's this running gag that everything around here is a bit of a machine. And perhaps it was just a bit of his whimsical humor, but it said he named the place after her.
Yes.
Tiva interrupts and she says, "Could it be Butterspoon?"
It could be. I was just a wee lad. It always had to do with a bit of butter, though.
We met Butterspoon.
Yes, you did. You still must enlighten me on the full details of that story, young halfling. Maybe there will be something we can find out from Torlak. Maybe they are the same. It will be sad for him to hear such news, the demise of his divinity. And then with that, it's a big evil laugh.
Get a little sense of uncomfortableness from poor Théoden.
Don't be a cog, Théoden. Don't be a cog in the machine. Be your own man. Remember, you only have you and your wife. These Modrons care nothing for you. They care only about maintaining order and law.
Says I hope to gather me monies enough to leave this place. It's a bit of a drag, but it is what it is, and I make a fine living, so the lads will do well.
Thank you for your fine hospitality in your immaculate store. Your meats are most delicious.
All the while, I'm taking no tastes of any meats.
Well, speaking of taste for the meat, Tiva wanted to order. She asks him if she can order a pound of bacon for her and her friend.
I most certainly. Quickly go behind the counter and pull up this large slab of bacon that he cuts down, keep some of the fat on there, just enough. You can see he's done this for a long time. Each slice perfectly, nice thick, peppered on one side, and rolls it all up in a bit of parchment, and ties it with a bit of twine and hands it over. Says, "It'll be the finest you ever ate. I promise you that."
She takes the parcel and she says, "Thank you so much. I expect it to be extremely tasty." And then she walks over to say, "Is like, look what we have. We have a pound of bacon."
And there he runs.
Seda steals the parcel of bacon and runs.
Oh shit. So
The
while
bacon,
he's gone,
bacon was so good she fainted.
yeah, she fainted.
You often throw a pound of nice, excellently smoked meats in your inventory for down the road or whatever, but you'll hook you out.
Down the road.
Or you can eat it now.
Down the way to that table right over there.
Yeah, Table will be lucky to get any of it.
My business is completed here, Zon. Do you think we should continue on and maybe interact and discuss this new manner of the halfling with the other halfling? Thorlak was his name.
Definitely.
There's more to that tale, I'm sure.
Oh,
I
definitely.
would like to hear more about Butterspoon because I have the opportunity to meet her.
The one she killed.
I didn't kill her.
Yes.
She says kind of sad and just got this look of, this guilt on her face.
Yeah, Zan is still not convinced. The story sounded very like killing her.
I must admit, I've never met one of your kind before, and to meet two in such short order will be most intriguing. I'm talking to little Tiva there. There are no little folk like yourself from the place of which I called home before I showed up in Sigil.
Well, we're all over the place of where I lived.
Yes, and most of you were venerated this god, this buttercup, this halfling goddess of travel and well wishes.
Well, I have to admit, I am not very religious. So, because for me, I like shiny objects. And this particular goddess, she was more about travel and protection. And I'm not into that kind of thing. However, I have learned a little bit more about her in my travels. But after we met her in person, I'm very fascinated, and I would love to know more about her.
No, of course not. She's gone. Forget about her, little dear. The more you forget about her now, the better it'll be. You keep to your original story. She is deceased, no more.
And she was kind of downtrodden. She says, okay.
Well, I still say it was that dark-skinned elf lady's fault.
Yes, also interesting. Maybe we can share in some of your bacon there, Seda, at the inn. We can talk Mr. Torlak in allowing us to use his cooking apparatuses.
That's fine. You might need some more cough drops, though. It doesn't sound like the first one's helping.
I do not need any cough drops. This is my natural speaking voice.
Ooh.
Let's go, shall we? Sam turns around and shows you guys his butt and
Right.
walks out slowly.
As Zan walks away, he leans over toward
I looked
Troy's character and is like, "It's okay. These taste really good. I'll eat the rest of them."
I looked at Tiva. There were none of those where I came from either. You get so excited about that pork product. I do not really see the difference between your pork and Zahn.
What?
I
Are
said
you
it.
coming?
I said it to her, little quiet.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
here.
Oh,
Walked out.
we'll be right there. We'll be right there.
Huh?
Tasty meat. Tasty meat.
What?
I got the image of Figley chewing on the remains of the other one back in the Jason's store.
And Seda being absolutely no good at being discreet. She's like, "Well, yeah, goats do taste really good."
Are you coming now? He sticks his head back in.
Yep.
Yes.
Tiva covers her mouth, trying to hide a laugh.
I iron out or flick out my robes as I stand up and put book number 1 back into my satchel.
I will need some rest. The inn, divine,
Spits again a little bit.
machine it is.
Book has been, totally silent during most of this, but you still get that strange, confused sort of emotion that seems to roll around in the back of your skull from a vendor. As all of you once again step back outside, your smoked meats in hand, start headed down to the end of the street where the divine machine address has been given. Moving along, you get to this building. You can see it's labeled, looks exactly like all the rest, but it does have the divine machine and a little nameplate sort of beside the door. Are you leading the way down through, Zan? Being that you were the first one out the door anyway.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh shit, I'm muted. Yeah, I do so. Mm-hmm.
All the while I'm in the common grounds, the walking in the corridors and hallways and perfectly lined streets, I'm keeping my eyes out for any Gith Sarai or Gith Yankee, anyone that would slightly match that image that I've seen flicker in the Halfworks mind space. If we're asking about this Linda Scrogg, I mentioned his name aloud, and that guy was so quick to denounce me doing so. Maybe this Linda Scrogg is aware of us asking about him. So I'm definitely trying to keep an eye out for anything that matches that flicker of description that I've gotten from.
All right. Give me a just give me a 1d6 roll.
All right. I rolled a 4 once more.
All right. So just move along. You don't see to notice anybody really paying much attention to you or following along. Nobody that stands out in any sort of way. You do see quite a few Gith here and there, but they wear the simple, normal robes, Gith Yankee, of the town, and they're marching along in order. They don't, even if they were this person that you're looking for, they don't seem to stand out in any way that gives you that inclination. As you come up to this divine machine, Zahn, you're the first person to open up the door. Inside is a complete stark contrast to what's outside. Instead of the simple marble buildings and cobblestone streets and everything immaculate, inside of this place looks like the inside of a log cabin. Even though the outside is marble, you step through nice, beautiful hardwood floors. The walls are lined with plank board. Windows in the very center of this room is a large, looks like a wooden carved statue of a halfling. It's larger in size, so it's like human size, but you can tell it was meant to be halfling. It's just proportion bigger is all. And it has, looks like she's holding a simple little sign that says the Divine Machine on it. There's a handful of people in here, some of them sitting at the tables eating, a couple people up at the counter. For the most part, it's kind of empty. You can see this beautiful hearth fire over in the corner that's rolling. The place is very warm, inviting even, compared to the stark blandness of outside. Behind the counter, there's a small halfling man. Looks to be older, probably in his 60s, 70s, moving quite quickly, though, for a halfling, as he moves between people, delivering up small plates of food and talking, chatting amongst one another, and has a large smile on his face. He'll give you a quick little brief nod as you step through the door, as he's in the middle of working with somebody, another customer.
Interesting.
Tiva and Seda, this place looks not exactly like the cabin that you were in before, or the Heart's Rest, but it's definitely looks like it was built in honor of that or to mimic it in design almost.
How far up the street from the two establishments? Like, how close are they?
Probably about maybe a quarter of a mile.
All right, so there's some distance between. You might not, the owners might not have known each other. I'm going to inquire anyway. I go and find a comfortable seat near the hearth and near the fire, and I put my feet up in a relaxed state and just kind of passively take in the inhabitants of the place, and all the while keeping my eye on the little halfling working busily.
Sada's gonna follow actually because she wants to eat the bacon. And when she sits down, she kind of mentions in passing, she pulls out a piece of the bacon, and of course, Troy, I apologize, I cannot remember the name of your character again.
Vendrick, Vendrick.
She offers Vendrick a piece of the bacon, and she goes, "You know, this place looks almost exactly like the place that we were in when the people chased us and we ended up in Sigil."
I'll look up immediately.
I mean, almost exactly like it, except it doesn't have the big purple heart pedestal thing. There's the spot for it's over there, but it doesn't have the big purple wooden egg thing.
Is it possible that you had found yourself in a area of the Outlands and went through a portal?
I'm going to roll, if I could, on my planar knowledge and see if that place that they ended up in was actually like one of these like transitional places.
Okay, yeah.
I rolled 4 again. I only have 2, so no.
Yeah, you don't get the sense that it was, I mean, from the way they describe it and stuff, it doesn't seem like it came from the Outland. If you were to make a guess, perhaps a demi-plane or something, but sort of in between somewhere.
It is a comfortable place, Seda. It reminds me of the long houses of where I'm from, where us noblemen would sit and drink and frolic and have sex with our beautiful women all through the night after our glorious battles. That was a long time ago. None of my kin remain. We are all dead.
You sound like that. Sounds like the Northern Dragon men.
Yes, well,
Not actual dragon men, but you know, dragon men. Like their boats had dragons on them and stuff. That's what there were guys like similar to that where I come from, humans.
That's correct.
They're
Well,
very
we would be similar, maybe, though we did not pillage by sea.
Oh.
But pillage we did.
Uh,
But alas, that came to an end abruptly. A sad tale, that.
she would shrug her shoulders, not catching on, and just say, well, like I said, the last place was almost just like this, and it was really comfortable too. And then that's when the butter spoon lady came in, and then the dark elf lady, and then the creatures, and door number 12, and then we fell out the window into your city.
Well, I will keep my eyes peeled for such an happenstance again. It would be most intriguing to witness.
Yes.
Cook that bacon a little longer, will you? I like mine crispy.
I can ask them if they'll do it. If you'd like, I'll do it. So she gets up and
I
actually
have
goes
faith
to
in your skills, Seda. Make it hotter than a baler's breath, will you?
So she actually goes, it's like lays some next to the fire and actually tries to start getting it hot for him.
There'd probably be some cooking, you know,
That's his
pans and
life.
stuff hanging up. Tiva is, they're doing that and you're looking around. All of it you'll see, there's currently 6 people here in the establishment, while 7 counting the halfling who's running the place. There's 2 human people, just an older man and an older woman at the bar that are currently look like they're having a meal together. They're not wearing the uniforms of the town, so they're probably guests. And as they turn, you'll see that they do have name tags on as well. You'll see another man. He looks like he's human, but he has something else in his bloodline. He has this greenish colored skin. His ears are a little bit pointed. He has a name tag on as well, and he looks to be working through some booklets, reading through them, writing notes, and like some sort of job or something that he's doing. Besides that, there's another table with 3 other people. There's a dwarf, another halfling, and a tiefling. And they all seem to be playing a simple game of dice. They all wear this sort of yellowish colored leathered armor. It matches the colors of the town, so you guess that they're inhabitants. They don't have a name tag or anything, but they also look like they may be part of the guards or police or something like that, as they actually have armor. They have a couple of swords strapped to their hips and stuff. Tiva, you'll notice that this tiefling constantly keeps looking over in your direction, particularly at Seda, and then Vendrick, and kind of listening to the 2 as they were talking about everything and the bacon and butter spoon and stuff. Once she locks eyes with you, she'll quickly turn back and start talking with the others. But you do get the sense that she's still trying to listen in or watch when you're not watching, kind of thing.
Okay. So Tiva, noticing this, she looks over at the others, Vendrick and Seda in the party and Zan, and she says, that tiefling over there keeps staring at us. And I think is the tiefling male or female?
Female.
Okay. I think she's trying to listen in on our conversation. Should we maybe confront her? Maybe she's just being nosy?
You look like someone that would be capable of playing a dice game. Maybe you should ask to join in, but be wary. If this is a place of law and order, as I presume it to be, I project those dice to roll in sequence. I've heard of such things. How they make a game of it will be most intriguing. I will accompany you and look natural. And with that, I put my hand up over my face, and like you see, like the colorations start to blur and move around as if I'm trying to move clay upon a spit. And I come back down, and the colors are a little more
in the open.
a little more natural. It's very subtle. It's like a quick little hand gesture above my face to just put some more rouge upon my cheeks, basically.
Well, Tiva looks upon this and kind of winces a little bit, and she says, okay. So she steps up. She stands up from her table and leaves the rest of the bacon for Seda to finish. And then she walks over to the table and she looks at the tiefling and looks at, because you said it was a halfling, a tiefling, and a dwarf, you said. Yep. And she looks at them. She says, mind if I join your game? It looks rather fun.
The dwarf will sort of furrow these big, bushy brows a little bit, staring at you. The halfling just seems to be excited to see another halfling and smiles. You can see this. Both the dwarf and the tiefling are male. He just kind of eyes you up and down for a moment, Tiva, one eyebrow cocked up a little bit. But the tiefling will scour and stare at you for a few moments. Says, "It's a game between the three of us. I don't remember inviting you. What's your name?"
Well, my name is Tiva, but no, you
Yes,
didn't invite me,
Tiva.
but I'm asking if I can join your game.
And you do this often, coming along into other people's what you call business and act to join in their endeavors. Is this natural for your kind, or your home, perhaps?
Well,
Self-invitation, I shall call it.
well, I don't know if it would be considered a self-invitation. I'm just asking if I can join your game. If you don't want me to join your game, all you have to do is tell me. However, I am having a little bit of interest in you because you keep staring at me and my friends and trying to listen into our conversation. So
the subtlety of a halfling.
She says, "Yes, well, I found your friend very handsome." And she'll look at Vendrick.
Who's walked over towards the bar? It's like leaning a arm upon the bar, looking back over his shoulder towards the group that's playing the game.
And Zan is standing like halfway between the table and their original fireplace spot, is grinning from one ear to the other.
well, and she looks over at the tiefling and she says, while that you may think that's true, I don't believe you. I think you were trying to listen into our conversation.
And what kind of conversation would you have that I would find so interesting?
Well, that would be a question for you. What are we talking about that you would find interesting?
Quite blunt for a halfling. I like that about you, Tiva.
Say to hand Zan a strip of bacon while this is going on, and just kind of leans up and it's like, this might get good.
Oh yes.
I might
yes.
punch somebody before this is over.
Crunch.
Go ahead, pull up a seat, halfling, and we'll play a game.
Okay, so Tiva's gonna go and sit down next to the Tief. Well, actually, how are they seated?
There'd be an empty seat on one side. To the, I guess if you're sitting in the seat, to the right would be the dwarf, to the left would be the tiefling, and across would be the halfling.
Okay, so she's gonna sit in, I guess, between the tiefling and the dwarf, and she looks at the tiefling. Thank you so much.
Muenskel. That is my name. Say it with me. Muenskel.
Muensken. Thank you for
Muenskel.
allowing me to join your game.
Oh, do not mention it. It is. Consider it a bygone gesture. You don't owe me any favors yet.
Can I call you Moo?
No, you may not.
That's hilarious. That's my son's nickname for my daughter. It's so random that you said that. Sorry to intervene.
Oh, it's okay.
You're
So,
fine.
since we jumped off subject, what made me think of it is my oldest daughter's nickname is Nunu with it.
Nice.
That's crazy because that's the little vacuum cleaner from Teletubbies.
Vendrick is again leaning upon the desk or the slab, the table where the halfling is working behind the bar, if you will. He just puts a couple silver pieces across the table.
A glass of your finest ale, master innkeeper.
The little coins are pretty much gone in the blink as he hurries over. He says, "Aye, finest ale, finest ale, finest ale.
And a fine establishment you have here.
Oh,
What was
indeed.
your name? What was your name, sir?
Torlak is the name.
Torlak. It is nice to meet you. I am the one they call Vendrick. These are my companions about to sit with your inhabitants of your fine inn.
You'll see this, like, sort of not again face as he looks over at Tiva with the other three. He says, brings up a nice bottle, dark amber liquid ale, and he says, "'Tis the finest I got. You can take a sip or gather it in a glass." He put an empty glass up there as well. He says, "Your friend's about to lose her coinage, though. If she knows what's better for her, she'd come over and have a seat with you. But that's just what I got to say."
She's a Burke. A Connie, if you will. She's okay to learn a few lessons in life. Young and full of zeal she is. Not like you, Master Halfling. You seem like you've been around a while. Seen a few things.
I
can appreciate a fine ale. Get a glass for yourself.
And I throw another silver his way.
If you will, I mean, no pressure, of course.
quickly snatch that up, dropping it into a little pocket on his vest. 1 moment, sir, 1 moment. Hurry down. He sets the other 2 people up at the bar with a couple drinks or stuff, and then comes back over and pulls the stool over and hops up into it, raising it up enough so he's at least eye level with you. Says, it's been a long day. I could go for a bit of a drink, and we can watch your friend lose her coins. And poor Mwen, she harasses her for the evening. Don't worry, she won't do any harm, but she'll just lose a few coins. But Mwen's a good lady; she'll be fine.
Very well, I will watch.
Then I just turn back over my shoulder. I'm kind of half paying attention to him and looking at the game at the same time.
He'll take a couple of drinks. You can see he just poured himself a nice wine and sits forward, just sort of watching the 2 of them, or the group of people there for a few moments. He says, "So what brings you into the divine establishment here?" And says, "Don't think I've seen you around these parts. Looks like you're visiting for a short while with your name tags and all."
Yes, we went through all the proper protocols, as you can imagine, of visitors to this fine place. It is quite strange, this place, I must admit, for I am from Sigil. Are you familiar with the domed city of many doors? City of portals?
Been there many a days in my life. I spent a good decade there as a messenger myself.
Very well. Well, yes, we're just traveling through. Came to look for an old friend of a friend. Unfortunately, he no longer resides in his place of operation. It was a bookstore just down yonder way.
He'll slowly sort of turn his eyes over to you and says, I presume that it'd be the Huron's place you're talking about,
You would presume correctly, Master Halfling. Mr. Plethorus of Automata. Unfortunately, he sold his place 27 months ago to a half-orc meat maker.
Some of the finest meats in the town.
He told me you procure his meats and sell them here. My friends are eating some over there right now.
And I point to the Bauer sitting there munching on the meats that were just given to him by the dwarf.
And Seda would hold up a big strip of bacon like this and then stuff it in her mouth.
The thiefling there, the thiefling. What was her name?
Wen Scott. We call her Wen for short.
Wen seemed to be trying to listen in to my conversation. A conversation I was having with the beautiful young halfling there. Maybe a quarter your age, I would imagine. A fine specimen.
I'm trying to pimp Tiva out to this older halfling, or at least to see if he's interested.
Is she an information gatherer?
She's the type of person that digs up information and sells it for a bit of money, if you get to my drift.
I do. Information is very valuable.
So, I'd only believe maybe a fifth of what comes out of her mouth, though, so you might as well be paying for a bag of turds or a bag of coins. You never know what you're going to get.
How about you, Master Halfling? Are you above taking a few jink for information? Master Aaron Countess Plethorus of Automata, would you know his whereabouts? I will make it worthy if you do.
He says, good sir, I wish I could offer more. He says, Huron used to be a common patron here, a big fan of the smoked ham steaks, and often a side of potatoes he would have with it, crispy, just lightly fried.
Yes, I'm also a fan of crispy things.
He says, aye, but he's done gone. Ain't seen him in a good 3 weeks now.
Only 3 weeks? Well, that is optimistic. I would assume he was deceased.
Says, well, he very well might be now. He got in with a bit of the wrong crowd. Says, but he stayed at the place down yonder and sold it over to Thadon. Well, like you said, a good 2 years ago or so. He stayed here since one of the rooms upstairs. Rented out the room number 12 for the past almost 2 years as well, moving from one place to the next. But as I said, he turned in his keys 3 weeks ago and he done gone. Ain't heard a peep. Not a nickel penny for him. I can't say I know where he went. My guess is he got in with a bit of the wrong crowd. Perhaps somebody needed a few more favors than he was able to offer. Likely to find him in the gutter as you are, somewhere else now.
Strange business for a bookmaker. Getting into trouble.
I don't think he made books since he left the scribes. He went bits downhill. He acted very strange the past couple of years. Says it's as if it was no longer himself. Like he became somebody else. Somebody took control. He says, I'm not a superstitious type, but it's like he was possessed with the mind of somebody else. He closed up his shop. He threw away, burned all of his books, and entered the room here, came down for breakfast and lunch, sometimes dinner. The rest of the time, he just stayed in his room.
Not the superstitious type, eh? But yet you name your place divine machine. But it is a fine place, and a room I will have, Master Halfling. Room number 12, if it's available.
Says, aye, done been cleaned up. Bed's been privied. The wash basin's clean. Says, you can have the room.
Just a night, I think. How much is that, Master Halfling?
You played Penty between buying me the drink and having yourself. He says, the room's on me. He says, wish I could help you more. Huron was a good friend. He says, it's sad to see how it went downhill the past couple of years. He says, I wish I could help you find him more. But
again, it is not I. It's a friend of a friend I am searching for. Book, as he likes to call himself. One of Plethorus's many books, by my understanding. Either way, we will find him, either dead or alive. And I will have that room. My friends could join me, yes?
He says, well, certainly. The room only fits a pair, but they can have the one across the hall as well.
Well, as you can see, one is oversized and the other two are a half pint, so we'll manage. But we'll take the extra room as well. Now, back to this game. I try to understand it. My understanding is everything works differently in places like this. But maybe this is not Mechanus. Maybe what I think is that of the proper home of the Modrons and not this. Most interesting. This is the first time I've been outside of Sigil. Much learning I must do.
Over at the table, Tiva, you can see when picks up a pair of dice, just a simple set of 6-sided dice, reaches out and drops them into the palm of your hand. Says it's quite simple, Halfling. You roll the dice, you get a pair, and you win the pot. Says the trick is to decide how many rolls it will take you to get a pair. If you don't get that within the time, within the number of rolls that you request, then the pot is mine. So like this, she has her own 2 dice. She says, within 3 rolls, I would have a pair. And if I do, the pot is mine. Do you agree?
Do I agree that you will have 3, or you'll get a pair in 3 rolls? No, I don't agree with that.
No. She says, that's right. So, If I get a pair within 3 rolls, the pot's mine. If I do not, then it is yours. Simple enough, eh?
Yeah, it's extremely simple.
All right. Now for the bit more complicated parts. If I get the pair in the first roll, then you have to triple the pot with your own monies. If I get the pair in the second roll, you double it. And if I get the pair in the third roll, the pot leaves as it is. Simple enough, eh?
Aye, very simple.
Uh,
Just out of character, I have absolutely no idea how much money I have.
just put 30 gold in, or 30 silver.
Okay.
I'm not sure either, but that sounds good. She says, all right. And so now we begin the pot. And she drops 3 coins, 3 silvers on the table. She says, you agree to do it, or you call it out with it not being within the 3. So you put in 3 silver yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, so she puts in 3 silver.
So that the pot is at 6. So this is my first roll. If I get a pair here, you have to put 12 silver pieces in. She'll roll the dice. Got a 4 and a 5. Says, so winners not in this case. The pot stays as it is, and I take my second roll. Says, have I win this pot or this roll, you will have to put another 6 gold pieces in because it's doubled.
Okay, hold on a second. So right now she put in 3 silver pieces, right?
Yep.
So if she wins, if the tiefling wins, then I have to give her 12.
Yep.
Okay, but then what is about the 6? This.
No. If she got doubles on the first roll, you had to pay triple the pot.
Oh, I have to pay triple. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
And she takes these dice, rolls again, 4 and a 3. Says, down to the third roll, halfling. Says, granted, you won't have to pay the pot. I only take what's there if I roll doubles, but if I don't roll a pair this time, then that pot's yours.
At this point, Seda would walk over with her massive arms and just stand right behind Tiva and just start petting the top of her head, very friendly, and staring at the tiefling.
See Wen's eyes sort of look at you for a few moments, Tiva, and then up at the dwarf that's there, and then over at her dwarf companions across the table. His big furry eyebrows seem to be taking a bit of a interest upon the dwarf behind you, Tiva. Says, very well. Pair of dice. Simple roll. Now, would you look at that? 5 and a 3. Looks like you win the pot, halfling. Why don't you take your monies? Must be beginner's luck.
So she grins and then she takes the silver that's on the table and scoops it up into her little hands and then looks it over at the tiefling and say, so, back to our previous conversation. What interest do you have in us?
Says, your guests, patrons, apparently not from the town proper. I see your name tags. He says, I just like to get a bit of inquiry upon the new people here in town, see what I might learn. I'm what you might call an entrepreneur of information.
So, from my experience, an entrepreneur of information would be that you would be paid for information about other people. So, is someone paying you for information about me and my friends?
She'll lean forward and says, no, nobody's asked about you yet. But if they do, then I have some information to give them and some jink to be gained.
Can you entrepreneur a way for us to get home?
Perhaps. It depends on where home is.
Crystal Mist Mountains.
Never heard of the place. Give me 30 gold and I'll see what I can dig up.
And she leans down and says, you better keep playing.
Oh, he dropped, didn't he? Okay.
Yeah, Troy had just sent us a message saying that he
Got it.
lost internet. Well, she looks over at Satan and she says, well, we don't have 30 gold.
So don't lose.
I mean, it's going to take a long time for us to accumulate 30 gold. Maybe Vendrick has 30 gold.
He's
Or
too
she looks
grumpy.
at Zan. Zan, do you have 30 gold?
What?
Gwen will turn, look over in your direction, Zan. Say, Zan, you got 30 gold so your friends can go home?
You asked 30 gold from them? And I clock over, cluck, 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 cluck. Tiva, don't listen. This is dangerous. This is like Sigillian business here. Be careful. And I give him the look, like...
Zillion? Is that more than a million?
No, that's sigil business tactics.
Sigil.
And
okay.
business is a very nice word I'm using here.
Gwen will shake her head and says, no. It's a long motorcycle. Says, it's not the way. She says, I'm just trying to make a bit of a living here. You know, I saw your handsome friend across the way. Well, you know, I did consider taking a bite of that, but I put it on the back burner to have a friendly game of dice and pay a few coins and perhaps make a bit of a deal. I'm only trying to make a living. I mean, you understand that, all right?
I'm sure my friend Vendrick would enjoy a conversation with you. And I do everything to not start laughing loud.
She says, but perhaps I can help you out. I mean, most people that come here to Automata are looking for something. I mean, nobody really comes here for vacation or anything, so perhaps I can help you find what you're looking for. With a bit of jink, of course.
Define bit of jink.
Define your interests of searching.
Vendrick.
I'm sorry. I'm just in
There
the
he is.
middle of something right now. But if you can carry on without me for a couple.
Oh,
more
sorry.
minutes.
Sure.
Yep.
Well, we are looking for someone who owned the bookshop just down the street here. We're having some trouble finding him. I mean, we would find him, but I mean, if you can shorten that search by an hour or so, we would be very grateful. That can't be that much jink.
Well, I mean, you're asking for an awful lot. Huron is a man of many mysteries and curiosities. Well, I do have a lot of information stored up here. I could probably dissolve a little bit and share a few of the details and factual information about the man, but you know, a tiefling's got to make a living. I need a room to stay tonight.
Tiva looks at her and she says, well, considering you were trying to listen on our conversation without being invited, this is the least you can do.
You know what? You're an information broker, huh?
She stares at you for a moment and looks across at this other dwarf and the halfling and sort of gives them a wave. You see both of them look at each other, stand up and turn around. They walk away to the other side of the room and sit down where they start playing a pair of dice between the two of them and talking. Says, why don't the lot of you have a bit of a seat?
And I look awkwardly at the chairs on the other side.
You will also notice, just as she does this, that all the chairs around here are basically halfling sized.
Yeah, I just plump my ass down where I'm standing. Still being the normal size up front, so.
Sadie will just stand and cross her arms.
Says, Tiva, you can at least have a seat with me, I mean, lady to lady.
I'm not trying to be rude. My butt's just way too big for those seats.
Well, and Tiva was already sitting there.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what,
Dwarves have big butts.
we share some really
Right.
spectacular information directly from the hub of all dimensions and worlds with you.
From all the bacon.
And therefore, you will tell us what we want to know. What do you say?
Probably not, but
Oh, even, and I lean forward, putting my arms on the tabletop, even if it's about a god?
depends on the god. I don't much give two shits either way about him, but if it gives me a little bit of information and
Well,
something more to sell,
considering that some people are really, really interested in gods. I mean, I am not particularly, but it's quite interesting if you find the right person to tell the story I have to share with you. You would make a lot of jink.
you're gonna have to give me a bit more information. I don't have
What
much to go on
about?
here.
Sure, I understand. What about? I'm just saying if, right? It's not fact, but what about if a halfling god just perished?
She'll look over it. Tiva looks like she's trying to sort of read your emotions or something for a minute. And across the way where Vendrick is talking with Torlak. Back to you, Zan. All right. I could probably sell something of the sorts for a fair bit of monies.
That's what I'm saying.
And how are we gonna go about this? Are you gonna tell me your story first, or are you just gonna barrage me of questions and then walk out of here?
What about we tell you the story, but not the name? You will get the name last. And same goes for your side. You can just hold back the important part. But so we know you really have information for us.
All right. She'll hand out her hand to shake yours.
I spit in mine.
That's disgusting.
That's how we do business.
Very well.
So,
She'll begrudgingly do the same and shake your hand. Says,
Very
very
good.
well. Says, why don't you tell me your story, and you can ask what you may wish of me, and I will share what information I have. Hopefully it is of equal interest.
well, those two ladies here, and I put one hand on Seda and one hand on Tiva's shoulder, just came from the... Shit, what was the inn's name? Blackhearth. No.
She looks up at you and goes, "Heart's Rest."
Heart's Rest Inn. If you're a plane walker, you know exactly what I'm talking of. And there they met this said god. And this god was just being say that. Can you tell? I mean, you know the details, but don't say the name.
Across the way where Vendrick is at the bar, Vendrick, you'll notice Torlak's ears perk up as he quickly turns around, looking over at this group. Says, "I, Butterspoon, is the beautifulest woman I've ever seen. This place is built upon the tales of Heartrest and the likeness." And he'll hop down from his stool. He says, "Come, Vendrick, let me tell you the tales of the most beautiful halfling that this old body has ever set eyes upon."
And the statue that's in the center of this place, is that of her? A depiction of her?
Oh, aye, that is her.
Shit.
So Seda looks up at Zan with this.
Trying to correct and say, I don't know if that is the one that was in our tale. So let us continue with our story.
Oh,
yes, that is Fenfrey Butterspoon. Tis like a perfect rose upon a bush, like a single drop of dew at the edge of a leaf of perfection. Says I, but I was just a young lad then, nearly 50 years ago, I'd have to say. I remember that night like it was yesterday, though, and rolling in the sheets and I can see he just kind of quiets down, takes a seat next to you, Tiva.
Yep.
Sam starts sweating.
So Seda, who's been like staring at Zan like a deer in the headlights as this whole conversation went on, looks back at the tiefling and begins to quietly recant the tale of how her and Tiva were traveling. They were tired. They went into the Heart's Rest, described the Heart's Rest, how there was a halfling barkeep in there who was, just super sweet, super awesome. Then they were confronted by a woman, a dark-skinned elf who was elderly with white hair. And then suddenly she had done something, had keeled over, and then these evil shadowy things came in, and that the halfling ran across and basically, had their confrontation. And as we tried to grab the halfling and have her run with us to safety, apparently we broke her concentration and she perished. And then basically just fills in the story of how we then ran to the door 12 and ended up in Sigil.
The whole time as you're recounting the story, you can see Torlak step down, and he kind of sort of pulls you over as well, Vendrick, to have you motion along with him. As you come to the end of this tale, Seda, you can see this look of sadness, of just absolute despair sort of start to wash over his face. He says, no, this is... you must be lying, dwarf. Butterspoon, no, she's not dead. She says,
"Oh, we didn't say the name. No, it's not her.
It's just a bartender."
Mm-hmm.
It was just the bartender of the bar.
Why do you assume it's the same? There are many halflings, even though this is the first one I've laid my eyes upon. But there are many of you out in the cosmos, yes?
He says, it has to be somebody else. It says, Fenfrey's alive. I know that she is. She says, it must be just another barkeep. Yes, you're right, Borier. It's just another barkeep.
I lift my ass up from the ground just to be ready.
Why would she capture your heart such that you would come back here and build a place in honor of the place in which you met her? I do not understand the appeal, the draw that she had upon you. Just her beauty, but look at this halfling and this one. Are they not beautiful, like this buttercup?
Butterspoon, Vendrick, Butterspoon. He says, it was what they call love at first sight. Hasn't anybody captured your soul, Vendrick, even when you weren't quite like this?
I had a wife once and a beloved son. They are gone now. I have moved past it, but it looks like you have not. You have built a shrine to her, as if she was a deity, as if she was a goddess. This is foolhardy, friend. She is gone, and here you linger in despair.
Says, no, I look upon this as a way to reconnect with her every day. Have a bit of something I could never have, like you having a lock of your wife's hair, or the sword of your son's military gear. A bit of remembrance. So that's how I look upon this place. It is a way for me to...
And how is it that you and this beloved of yours found yourselves separated?
Says, well, she had a life, and I had my own, and I had
Yes. The love was one-sided. For a smart halfling, you do seem the fool. Do not take offense, of course.
Says, I've been told that before, but, well, the heart can never have what it wants, I suppose.
So
Well,
what about you tell us about your information, Tiefling?
Torlaka sort of scoot his chair back. He sort of just listens into what you guys are talking about, but he seems to be kind of distant, just thinking about the whole conversation before. One will look over at you, though, Zahn, and yes, it's only fair to make a story for a story. He says, what would you like to know about Huron? Says, what interest would a lot of you have in books and accounting? And
Preferably, we would like to know where he is now.
he's down at the Crazy Clink.
What? Something wrong with his idea box?
You might be able to say that. Said, oh, he stayed here for nearly 2 years. A few weeks back, he got up one morning and came down, let his junk hanging out, had a bit of a hat of meat on his head, danced around in his privies, ran out into the streets. He was jerky. Like his motor skills weren't quite right. His dexterity gone. He fell over randomly, swinging at imaginary things in the air, yelling at dogs like they were people. And the final straw before he went into the clink was, well, he tried to ride the grand judge like a pony. It was a excellent sight. We all had a hearty laugh, but, well, poor Huron, he's down at the Crazy Clink now.
Sounds like he got some dwarf ale or something.
Says, he says something with his idea box done snapped in the old man. But
He's
I might
talking
be able to help
Book,
you.
right? I mean, who? Can you point us into the direction of his apartment?
Well, what interest did a lot of you have in him? I mean, between you and I, he might be a bit crazy now, but he's a good old man. I don't wish for anybody to be going and hurting him any, because, well, if they hurt him, then I'd have to hurt them, if you get my drift.
Are you a friend?
Yeah, we're friendly acquaintances.
So you're
feel a bit
just friends
sad for
with
the old
gold?
Burke. No, we like to have a bit of dinner, and I felt I could trust the man if I had to be. It's a person in my line doesn't have friends per se, but we have friendly acquaintances. That of which he was.
Well, we just want to return some of his belongings to him. That's it.
Very well. If I hear of any harm that comes upon him, you all will be dead. You understand that, right?
No worries.
Very well. As I said, you can find him down at the Crazy Clink. The proper term for it is the Automata Asylum, but all of us just call it the Crazy Clink. 12 floors of loonies. He goes by the name Mech. That's what he seems to be calling himself these days.
Mech.
This dog and baby both have perfect timing in this game, I'm telling you. He sat down in the Crazy Clink and the dog goes, woo!
Yep, he calls himself Mech Atan.
You have the location of this place? Everything seems to be modeled the same. Surely an asylum will be easy to spot, no? Or is it the same again?
'Tis the same as every building. I can give you the address. I can tell you his floor, his room number, even give you a bit of information about the place, if you're willing to pay a few coin.
Well, we will pay with the name of the dead god when we're done here.
I forgot. Well, I was hoping you would forget that, actually. But very well. She says she'll take out a simple little map and show you guys the location of the building. Says it looks like every other. She says there's a constant watch. 4 Modrons circle the building. Just simple mono drones. In perfect unison as they walk the perimeter. A dual drone will guard the doors, and within the main entry hall is a pentadrone. It's a platform. Roughly fits 10 people. That'll take you to the floor you need. Mech, Huron, whatever you prefer to call him, though I would suggest you call him Mech, as that's what he's been going by these days, is on subfloor 4 upon room 413. Says,
314.
Floor 4, room 413.
Oh, 4. Okay.
She says, just be aware that going to the place requires the proper permits and forms. You're looking at half a day's work of filling out more paperwork just to get inside the place. Not counting, visitation rights and the proper permits for such a thing.
Yes, we are used to that by now, I guess. I lean over to Vendrick. Did you pay for the rooms already?
They are on the house. The Master Halfling is quite the host, as it seems.
Well,
Room number 12 and the one across the hall.
I have to inform you that we will probably have to run when I say the name, though.
You are of 4 legs. I imagine you could run quite well. I will follow in your stead if that is what we do. I do need rest, though. This body is starting to fall apart.
We'll see how it goes. So, our end of the bargain, right? I look around and I look for the halfling bartender. Is he close?
He'll sort of lock eyes with you. He's a few feet away where you're sitting in the chair, sort of listening in a little bit, but sort of in his own little world. But he'll lock eyes with you for a moment as if he's waiting for you to say this as well.
Oh, shit. I'll lean over to the tiefling as far and close as I can, and I whisper the name, Butter...
Fenfully Butterspoon.
Butterspoon. It was Butterspoon, if you believe it or not.
Bueno, look at you. A bit of a smile on her face. I figured as much. The halfling seems like he's interested, but just as you sort of lean over to whisper, this is this huge clatter over in the corner, and you can see these two, this dwarf and this halfling playing the dice, seem to have got into a bit of a confrontation as they argue about the situation. The dwarf standing up and the chair going sliding back, because I completely botched his listen search roll there. And he quickly stands up and runs over to try and calm the situation down before coming back over. And he sits up where the bar is as he's watching you on, and finally he'll sort of wave you over.
Oh, there we go.
Bit of a moment with you, Boria. Zan, is it?
Correct.
Ask you the name. It wasn't my beloved Butterspoon, was it?
Oh no! It was Fire Lily Coalspark.
Fire Lily. I don't believe I remember such a.
Yeah, she's from that really hot plane.
Of course. Very well. That was a bit of a relief upon the heart that it wasn't.
Oh, yes, I understand.
Indeed. I mean, I don't know if you've ever lost anybody close to you, but perhaps you would know how it would feel for such a situation.
Oh, and his face darkens. Yeah, I know.
Don't we all?
But enough of this dreary mood. The rest of you, why don't you finish your meals? Your bacon is burning, Miss Dwarf, and the rooms are yours to have for the evening. Says if you would have anything out, my home is your home.
Thank you, dear
Cindy
halfling.
goes and grabs her bacon and brings it back over to Vendrick, and she goes, crispy and hot as a whatchamacallit that you said, and hands it over to him. That's what you said you liked.
Yeah, take it and put it in the little side bag.
I'll save this for later.
When I'll stand up and say, well, I wish I could be of more service and more information, but hopefully that will do you well enough. As I said, I expect the man to be in good health next time I go and visit him. Let me know if you need any more information.
Don't worry. We don't harm people.
Neither
With a
do
straight
I.
face.
Neither do I, Zan. Neither do I.
Well then, have a good night.
With that, she'll turn, sort of waves for the other two, and you see the dwarf and halfling hurry over, and they go out the door together. Up front, the two older people continue just to sort of eat their meal, talking to one another in quiet. Torlax behind the counter, cleaning out some glasses, wiping stuff down, smiling back on his face a little bit. You see a bit of a twinkle in his eyes as he hums some sort of tune to himself.
Torlak, wouldn't it be good for you to go see your old friend? Maybe you might be able to help us get through the process of getting in to see him, for we have no proof that we are friends to this madman.
Mm-hmm.
He says, I'm the only one that runs this establishment here, and Automata has strict guidelines. 8 a.m., 8 p.m. If I'm not here and these doors aren't open, that's a fine on my books. Perhaps even the jailers. So, if we were to go and visit such a place, we'd have to do so tonight, or perhaps early morning, because I have to be here.
Certainly, we can go after 9 p.m. Right?
I don't sleep much. I don't mind myself, but, I mean, your friend here said that he needed a bit of rest, and his complexion is a bit smeary.
Yes.
Dreary, not smeary.
Then we can go in the morning.
Room 12 it is then.
Says to be quite honest, I don't have the proper permits to go visit either, but, well, perhaps we can finagle a different way or something. Says a lot of you look a bit unscrupulous, and maybe you could come up with something, unless we wish to fill out forms tomorrow evening and perhaps go on another day. I don't have the forms that we will need.
Well, I am not one to worry about protocols. If I could make it happen without all the headaches and bureaucracy of interacting with more of these fools, then I would be okay to do so.
Well, we could try to find our way in. We have some information about the guards of that place, and if they get us, we say we didn't know. How big can the punishment be?
Torlak will snicker a bit. He says, well, on the bright side, being visitors here, you're probably only looking at a couple of weeks in the clink, but myself would be a bit longer. This is, but yeah, it's worth a shot. I mean, I could just say you dragged me along against my will, and I could probably get out of it. I'm fine with that.
Are you saying that we could plead ignorance, that Being that we are not from this place, we would get a lighter sentence.
Sometimes, it doesn't always work, but often enough, if the grand judge and you don't try to ride him like a pony, like our friend did apparently, then probably you could get away with it, right?
My eyes divert back to the bower once more when she said it.
Zan doesn't look pleased.
Either way, it's fine by me, friends, but I will be resting momentarily.
And with that, you see like my cheekbones start to peel away, and the skeletal form starts to side.
It's been a long day, even for me, one that does not need sleep. I grow weary of your company. Again, no offense, Master Halfling.
None taken, Vendrick. Go and get your beauty sleep. You need it.
I follow up, going upstairs, and I whisper to Tiva and say, how sneaky are you two?
You muted? Tiva looks at Zan and says, I can be pretty sneaky. But I gotta be really quiet though.
I normally just hit things, but I can try.
Same here. Maybe Vendrick has some means too. Yeah, we have to talk to Vendrick. This is becoming more complicated than I thought it would be. Different planes. Dad was right with not moving around the planes that much. And I opened the... Huh?
We didn't exactly want to.
Well, yeah. I totally get that.
By the way, what's wrong with Vendrick's face?
I have no idea. Looks weird.
It looked like bony, like real bony.
Well,
why does his face do that?
I don't know. And if you live long enough in Sigil, then you just don't ask questions. It just is. You know?
So I shouldn't ask him why his face does that?
Well, I would maybe avoid it for a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perhaps a lozenge will help.
This has now become rock candy because he won't take it anymore.
Yeah, I walk into our room and collapse on a heap of blankets as a substitute for straw.
All right. Do you go in room 12 or 11? I know Vendrick went to 12.
Oh, probably 11 then, because we're the two biggest people.
All right.
Can we stay in room 11 with you, because the last time me and Tiva went in room 12,
it didn't go well.
Didn't go well.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
I don't need a bed.
I mean, I don't know. Let Tiva have the bed.
The rooms are typical tavern rooms: bed, small chest, a little desk, pot of water to wash up and stuff, but overly, well, nothing too fancy. You're able to settle in pretty quickly. Vendrick, in your room is pretty much the same. The only thing you'll notice is one of the walls looks like it's been painted over since, but you can see where it's been scraped up and stuff, but you constantly see the word visage, Visage, and it's like constantly scribbled into the wall, or almost carved like by a rock or something, all over this one wall, but it's since been painted over and looked like it's been tried to be hidden the best they could anyway.
What do you make of this book? What do you make of all of this book? Your master, a master of crafting magical items, has lost his mind. He's lived on the street, become a vagrant, calling himself by a different name. 2 years he's lived his life. He spent time here. Look at these words. Do you think this is the handiwork? of your once master. I go to cast a spell, cast Detect Magic. I'm trying to determine if even these words upon this scribbled walls or have some magical inclinations, incantations, rather.
The words themselves are not, and there's nothing in the room that initially comes up as magical, but there's a lot of magical residue, particularly illusion. And it seems to like it's almost like dust in this room. It just seems to be this smearing of illusion magics kind of smeared everywhere. It's not an illusion now, but something strong within that school of magic happened here.
Most interesting.
Book will sort of be thinking quiet for a few pieces. This isn't what I remember. This is not right. Huron was a man of order, of perfection, of detailed instructions. For him to lose his mind and become this mech Atan, that even the name doesn't lose infringements upon my thoughts. This is, and these words, visage, seems even that is I don't understand the connections. It's, from what I understand, a visage is like a person's look or their presentation or their proportions and features. I don't understand the connections.
Visage. I look at the pool of water as I'm thinking these things and look upon my face. I start to once again cast my illusionary cantrips. There are many things that are not as they seem about this place book. But we will find your master. We will get to the bottom of it. With hope, he can unlock all the mysteries obtained within your book. For that is all I care about. That is my desire, to get the information back to my order. You understand this book. I care not for this man that you once cared for dearly. It matters not to me that he spends the rest of his days in this nuthead.
I understand that, Vendrick, but I was only counting on you to take me there, so it's a decided balance.
Do you still wish to return, then? Being the man that you once knew is not the same visage as he was prior.
It is. That was my dedication. That was my meaning of life. That is what I'm meant to do and what must be done.
Very well, book. Then I will carry through with my promise to you. But first I must rest. It has been a long day. These halflings and dwarves and bowers and gifts they wane on me, book. I have not interacted with so many in so long.
You notice as you look in this pot of water and get ready to do your magics and sort of cover up your features again for the evening, the day, your illusion magics took on a heavier strength. You notice your complexion is much more human than whatever was before. It's as if your skills and making yourself presentable and stuff have been kicked up several times higher. But even when you look at your reflection in this pool of water, you can see that in place of your eyes, it's just empty, hollow sockets. And behind you, instead of seeing the ceiling and the wall behind you, it is that of a blue sky and of a blue forest. These juniper trees and other pine-type trees, evergreens, but with this strangely iridescent bluish color to them. You recognize this from your homeland. It's almost as if you're staring at yourself when you were still human, long time ago, back in your own prime realm. And as
Cool.
you even look up,
I'm gonna pause you there for a second because I got to run away. So
okay.
Vendrick is just engrossed in this visage for a moment, but I'll be right back.
Right, cool. Actually, why don't we take like a quick minute break? Because I got to run to the bathroom anyway. So,
Cool.
if everybody's cool with that,
Yep. You're back.
right back too.
I'm back.
Okay.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Just gonna throw a picture of what Modrons look like into the Facebook chat for everybody who might or might not be familiar with them.
They're so cool.
Kind of like Clockworks. These are the first 5 levels. So the mono drone, the duo drone, I don't even remember what they called after the third one. Tri drone, quad drone, and pentadrone. That's what those ones signify. And each one gets a little bit bigger and a little bigger and a little more smarter and such. But they go all the way on up through to I think 12 sides. And then there's like the sub CEO type, vice president type one, and then there's Primus. That's the top.
What is he called? Modron Prime.
Something like that.
Really?
No, it's something close though. Secondus. And then Primus.
Nice.
Secondus and Primus. All right. Close that. Let me get one more picture, and then I'll just sort of hop over the other two until Troy gets back. But I gotta find one more picture for you. Everybody ready?
I am.
Rush did have to step away, but he'll be back in just a second.
Okay, that's okay. I can just kind of swing over to you two for the moment until they get back. Not a big deal. So Zan, as you settle in for the night, perhaps over on your pile of pillows in the corner of the room, and you lay down, sleep overcomes you like it normally would. And you drift off quickly, but you're awoken only a few, maybe not even an hour later, sort of startled. And you can remember this dream you had, but it felt very realistic. You could spot yourself almost from a third person point of view or higher up, sort of looking down at yourself as you walked along this path. All around you is just darkened woods. And you get the sense that it's how you always pictured the Beastlands to be, sort of dark, mysterious woodland type atmosphere and surrounding scenery. And you're walking along this path. Up ahead, you can see this black smoke. Looks very like a fog swirling in and out of itself. But what catches your attention the most is this porcelain theater-like mask in place of where like a face would be. It sort of has a body to it, but it's constantly malforming and shifting and twisting in on itself. But there's always this porcelain-like mask that seems to be the center of attention. These two white, long, skeletal hands, each hand ending in claws that are a good 7-8 inches in length, just pitch black, of almost like obsidian. And it's always ahead of you, maybe 100 yards or so. But even as you walk and you gallop and you pick up the pace, and maybe try to move away from this thing, it's always there, just at the edge of your vision, taunting you. And then you open your eyes and you're back in this room. Across the way, you can look at Tiva, Seda, as they're both currently asleep as well. And both of you, as you drift off to Slumberland, you see yourselves looking at one another across the table. All around you is this beautiful woodscaped tavern, the center of which is this large pedestal and this egg-shaped purple heartwood. A beautiful young halfling woman sits behind the counter serving up food and slinging drinks, having a good time. The whole place is this raucous crowd. You see this praying mantis-like creature playing cards with this man in a white suit and crazy hair. This old wizard-like person off to the side. Next to you is this old elven dark-skinned crone woman, scraggly hair, a bit of blood dribbling down the corner of her mouth. And once again, it's as if you're back in the Heart's Rest Tavern. Everything that had happened before seems to happen again. You see yourself and listen, and you have the same conversation with this old crone. She calls you the sisters, too. And then you see these black smoke-like creatures burst through the door. Place erupts into chaos, and you see this larger smoke-like, black-skinned, demonic-like creature. These fiery flames of horns just rolling back out of its skull. And you relive that same exact moment again before you wake up once again. But this time, Tiva, you notice this large, black, burned scar across your chest. Take 2 hit points of damage. It burns just as if somebody just laid a scalding hot iron across your chest. And even as you look, you can see it's burned through part of your armor, and the flesh itself is seared below. What do you guys do? Zan, when you wake up too, it'd be about the same time Tiva and Seda, you both wake up. For just the briefest moment, you were awake before them, Zan, but you could see the smoke and the flames and the sudden sizzle of her flesh and armor just before she wakes up in a panic or scream.
Oh, I immediately kick away my pillows and blankets and try to get over to her, like as if I wanted to make her stop, drop, and roll.
As you get up to your feet and you go to like haul ass across this room, it's no longer a room. You just see this long hallway. At the far end is the bed. Seda standing next to Tiva, this look on her face, and you're running towards them down this hall.
No, no! Start screaming. And I keep running.
You feel this sudden blast in your face, Seda, Tiva. You'll see as Zahn gets up in the scream, and she just runs flat forward at full speed into the wall, putting her head through some of the plaster.
Ugh!
So Sada's still being sleepy. Having just woke up, she kind of panicked over the dream, but she starts looking over at Tiva and noticing the burns, and immediately just moves right beside her. I'm assuming I'm able to, or do I?
You get up, you see this burns, and then you see Tiva stand up, and she smiles at you, Seda. She says, "It's okay, Seda. It's okay. I'll be okay." And she turns, walking over to where the window is, looking outside, out onto the town of Automata. She opens up these shutters. She seems to look around for a moment, and then she leaps forward out this window.
So Seda would scream and start running toward the window.
Yeah, Zan is screaming too, trying to get up fast enough.
As you run over to the window, Seda, you will look down and you can see Tiva just sort of in that free fall as she leaps from this window.
Is she still falling?
Yes.
But we're only like one floor up, right?
Yes. Although as you look down, it looks more like probably 10 or 15 stories up.
So she just watches in horror.
You watch Tiva as she falls and then hits the ground, just this splatter of halfling across the pavement below.
So at that point, she would scream again and turn and start running for the bedroom door to try and run downstairs.
As you turn towards that door, again, you can see Seda or Tiva standing there looking at you with a bit of a smile. She says, "It's okay, Seda. Just it'll be okay. Just wait a moment and let me have this peace." And she'll turn and open up these windows and leap from the window again.
I stand there in awe, like in the middle of the room.
You don't see any of this, Zahn. As you
I don't see it.
Smash into this wall and you pick yourself up. In front of you is just a perfect cobblestone wall with probably some of your imprint upon it now and cracked a little bit. And look around, and behind you is just this expanse of wilderness.
What? What by the gods?
Tiva, as you stand there, you will watch as Seda runs from one side of the room to the other, looking out the window, and then standing there facing this wall as if she's looking at something, but she's just face first with the wall. You'll see Zahn laying on the ground after he just smashed his head into the wall, picking himself back up and looking around in confusement. Neither one seems to notice you standing there. And then you, from across the way in the hallway, you can just hear the screams of Vendrick screaming for help.
So, but I do actually have scars across my chest, correct?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So she awakens and she clutches her chest and she screams in pain. And then as she's looking at Seda and Zan, and she's out of breath because she's got so much pain, but she's looking at them going, "What the hell is wrong with you? What are you doing?" And then she walks over to Seda and she kind of smacks her face. She says, "Wake up, Seda, wake up."
Give me I'm going to say magic save, Seda. Let me double check. Yeah, give me a magic save, Seda.
Is it going to be a magic save or resist planar magic?
This is not planar magic, so just a regular magic save, and you're going to add in your intelligence modifier. Or lack thereof.
Too soon.
So in that case, my magic saves goes from a 10 to an 11. Hold on. and I got a 3, so
Success.
failed.
Get a room. Oh yeah, got to be
I
above
got to
it.
get over it.
Yep.
I failed it horribly.
Horribly. So you can feel this strange sensation coming over you as you see Tiva falling from this high-story window. You feel a simple, like somebody's grabbing a hold of your shoulder, and as they spin you around, who is like somebody that you hate, or do you have a villain or an enemy or somebody that just, absolutely despise in your life?
Oh. Probably there would be a dwarf named Borak, who was the one who was master at the forges, or at the anvils at the place when Seda was running through as a child and tripped and fell and smacked her head on the anvil base that sort of made her special. Ever since that accident, he got in trouble for, I guess, not stopping the children from running through the anvil areas, and so he's sort of had it in for her ever since. And Seda, in her previous iteration, was also learning to be a blacksmith, so he was constantly trying to screw things up for her, things like that. So there's a definite mutual dislike of each other because of that. That would probably be the only person that Seda has a really strong disliking for. Somebody she hates.
You'll feel this sort of grip on your shoulder, then spin you around, and you see Borlak, he said?
Borak.
See him standing there, this gruff covered in a bit of soot. He's like, "You pathetic infidel child." He just swings back and clocks you as hard as he possibly can. Take 2 points of damage.
Oh, nice.
And again, he just rushes forward, grabbing a hold of the front of your vest, sort of lifts you up like he's going to hurl you out this window as well. On the opposite side, Vendrick, you look into this pool of water. Behind you is the blue sky, these blue evergreens glowing with this sort of everglow essence sort of glow to them. You remember this as you were back in your prime world, back as a human, and you look exactly like you did when you were maybe in your 20s, 30s, in the prime of your manhood, looking at yourself in this water. And around you, the room pretty much is gone, and you're just simply looking into like the edge of a lake or the edge of a pond. Crystal clear water looking back up at you. You can hear children and women behind you laughing, men drinking from their flagons, and seems to be some sort of festival type moment.
Yeah, my fingers go down to my face and to my chest, where was a gray, hollow rib cage is now filled with the muscular, hairy chest of a Northman. I look around the greenery and the smells. I take it in, having not smelt anything like this, illusionary or other, for 150 years. I'm overwhelmed with joy for a moment. I forgot what this felt like.
Those smells seem to come back in just a wash of emotions, and it smells just like exactly you would remember. And you can taste that Northman ale on the back of your tongue. The smell of the roasting bison and the fowl.
There's a tug on my leg. I look down into the blue eyes and the dusty blonde hair of the youth, a young boy, almost an image of myself at that same age, that tender age of 6. I reach my hand down and rub my fingers through his hair, and he reaches up and clutches my hand and turns to pull me away from my gaze back to a lovely, beautiful, blonde-haired woman sitting over a cooking fire. This is my son, as he's seen as a youth. Caught up in the moment, I turn to walk with him.
As you do, you can see one by one these people that you knew back when you were living and well seem to somewhat fade away. They walk away, but it's as if they kind of disappear behind some trees and behind the foliage until you just left. You can see this beautiful bride of yours in the distance. She sits at a table chopping some potatoes and stuff. And you feel that tug on your pant leg again. You look down at this young lad who's your son. He'll stare up at you. And then with this deep, sort of almost unnatural voice, he says, "Why did you let me die, Father? Did you not care for my own life? How could you?"
I cared, boy. I give my life to try and save you. And
Lies.
with that, there's a remembrance of the battlefield of me and my regalia, him and his. He's much older now. 15 years later, he's in his prime, much like I was in this early image. And the lake is replaced by a grasslands flooded with blood, the blood of all my kinsmen and every tribe that had come together to rise up against this ancient foe, this reptilian, monstrous, bipedal creature, smarter than we ever could be. Intelligence, technology, we were lost. The war was lost before it began. And there I see it. I see my son, the man I was proud of, more proud than anyone could ever be. And there he was, blades attached to these reptilians' small arms, and they slashed through his form, his body, penetrating him and lifting him high into the air. There's sorcerer's magic afoot, black and purple, and the ground around it, the greenery of this grasslands is corrupted and turned blackened, ash-like. Erupting from that ash are these large black thorns, and then the body of my son being plunged down upon one of those thorns as if a ritual of sacrifice. I reach out from my injured position, hand reaching, laid on my belly, blood, abdomen cut open, and I start to crawl towards him with hopes of saving him once more, but foolhardy. Once I reach him, reach up my hand to his foot and to his leg and start to pull myself up the thorn to clutch his hand once more, I too am finished, chopped down by the blades of these reptilian monsters.
You're left with that last image of his piercing eyes staring back into yours, his hand sort of reaching out for that last moment of grasp. And those words seem to hang, and it's hard to tell what was real, what was said, what wasn't, and if any of this is real. But all he says is, "You let me die." You will wake up in bed, looking up at the ceiling. And if, even though you can't sweat, you can't feel that cold loss, sickness, you still feel the same emotions in that sort of wash of fear and sickness in the pit of your non-existent stomach, per se, in the uncomfortableness. And then you hear the heavy thud from the room beyond. You hear Tiva as she lets out a scream, and then a heavy body hit the floor as Seda gets clocked, even though you don't know that, but you can hear her body hitting the floor.
This place is madness. This place is the downfall. The downfall of Huron and any who stay here. And I start to move towards the door, quickly gathering up my possessions as I do so, with the fool in my mind understanding, even though it could be foolhardy, I don't know. I get a feeling that the illusions, that sense of that lingering illusionary magic is somehow connected to this room, and or there's some entity afoot that is causing this pain and suffrage upon myself.
Give me... why don't you give me your planner magic?
Roll?
Yeah.
Sure thing. I rolled a 6 and I need a 2.
Yep. So you can see that it doesn't seem to be the building, or it doesn't seem to be magic somewhere from here, but something else that seems to be causing this. But it's strange because where normal illusions, and you might have recognized some of these as illusions being a magic user and familiar with them yourself, most of the time they won't carry over in the sense of taking. They do if you strongly believe it, but you can often just sort of disbelieve an illusion and it'll go away. These ones don't. You can still look over, and if you look into that pool of water, you're still looking at yourself as a young man, even though you don't believe it. And you can still see the sky above you and the trees behind you. It's not until you literally look away from that water and make yourself walk out of this room that it seems to come back to reality. It's very, very high level magics or something causing this. And as you open the doorway, you can look down the hall, and it seems just to stretch forever. You can't see the end of it one way or the other, where before there was a simple stairway down to the lower levels of the building. And across the hall, where there is this door, again, you look at that, and it just seems like it gets pulled back further and further with each passing second. And as you step out and you're walking towards this thing, you know that you should reach the door. You know you should at least hit a wall or something. You're walking along, but it's always as if the door is 10 steps out of reach with every step that you take. In the room, Tiva, Seda turns around, and she gives you this sort of horrified look, and then you see her body get thrown back onto the floor.
She had to step into the bathroom. Hold on one second.
Okay. Zan, you would, pick yourself up and look around. Look over. You can see Seda and Tiva standing there. They have a smile on their faces. They're waving you forward. Behind them, you can see what looks to be this large circus-like ride, almost like a merry-go-round. And they seem to be waving you forward, wanting you to come get on. And you see Tiva and Seda step up onto this thing, spin by this large gear that spins around underneath. Some dwarves are cranking the thing, and it's spinning around slightly. Children seem to be having a good time as they're riding atop this thing. Tiva waves you over, and Seda's waving you over.
What are you doing there? We have to go to the what? Oh, my head hurts.
So Tiva, you've been knocked out for days. Come, let's play.
For days, really?
For days. I don't know how you got a knock on the head. Come, let's play.
Oh, well, if you insist.
Now, moving forward, you see that standing in front of what looks to be just a simple doorway, and she opens up the doorway and says, "Come, let's go. Warriors first." She'll stand, letting you go through this doorway.
Well, then, I enter.
Give me just a dexterity. So, what d20 you roll equal to or lesser than your dexterity?
No. Missed by
Step
one.
forward. As you walk, you just see this roar of flames walk up in front of you. You can feel this licking hit your fur, and it catches on fire. Take 2 points of fire damage. As you suddenly, step back as these flames wash over you, you can look around. You see Seda on the floor, Tiva standing over top of her with this horrified sort of look. The room you're in is back to normal. To the side, you see Vendrick. He seems to be just walking in place in the middle of the hallway.
Oof. Oh, that hurt. What? Do I see the door? Or do I just... No, where am I? In the hallway?
You wonder exactly that, and where it is you are, and what is going on. And then you're just standing back in this normal tavern room, bed off to the side, where you can see where you were curled up sleeping. But again, as you look to the hallway, you see Vendrick just marching in place.
Vendrick? Vendrick, there's something really wrong here. Vendrick?
Up ahead, Vendrick, you can see the door open and Zan yelling your name, saying, "Vendrick, come on, we gotta go.
I'm trying, Zon. There seems to be foul magic afoot. Try and disbelieve anything you see. Try, Zon. Remember something that you can hold on to, something real. The death of your father, perhaps. The revenge you unleashed upon that other barrier. Something. Let the madness go."
And I'm also trying to do the same.
Everybody can give me a magic save. This will be with an intelligence modifier.
No. Oh man. I will be lost in the dreamlands forever.
So what was the save against, sorry?
Magic with intelligence modifier added.
Okay. So 13, and I rolled a 16.
So you are good. Tifa.
So I'm thinking about that tree that exists in the Shattered Temple, that thing that brought me the sigil. So that's what I have in my mind's eye, trying to focus upon.
Tifa, what did you get?
I failed.
You failed. Seda?
Same.
Same. All of you fail. So, Vendrick, you're focused on this, and you see everything around you sort of slows down, almost in slow motion. You see the hallway reform to the stairwell downstairs. You see the door behind you from the room you just left. And up ahead, Zan, as he's looking at you and saying your name, suddenly is much closer as you realize whatever is going on around you, you seem to push aside for the moment. In this room, though, you can see Zan, Seda, Tiva, all of them seem to be lost into this moment. As you are looking at Vendrick, Zan, you will see this black, smoking sort of thing with this porcelain mask almost come out of nowhere, and it just wraps around him. You can hear his screams in these long skeletal-like hands disappear into the blackness and just come out covered in blood, and they disappear into the blackness again and come out with bits and flesh that are still stuck to these claws as they're just shredding him apart. What do you do, Zan?
Oh, I'm muted. I just start screaming and I plant my ass onto the ground and just, wah, no!
Tiva, you will be looking at Seda on the ground. Seda, when you look up, you just see this dwarf that you absolutely despise as he stands above you, ridiculing you for your stupidity and your insolence and ignorance, and what a shitty dwarf you are. You'll reach down behind him and he pulls out this long bladed, sort of looks like a scimitar type thing, raising it up above his head like he's going to crack it down onto your skull.
Seda would pick her leg up and just try and stomp him right in the groin.
You'll see Seda on the ground as you're looking at her, Tiva, trying to get her, and she brings her leg back and just nails you square in the gut. Give me a 1d4 roll, Seda, for damage.
Oh. Well, it was a 1.
Take 1 point of damage. Tiva, is Seda just squarely buries her boot into your gut. You go flying back a few steps, hit the wall.
She would angrily try to get up back to her feet, basically cursing the man.
And that's exactly what you see, Seda. Or I'm sorry, Tiva. She gets up, but she's saying your name, not this man who she thinks she's saying. As she charges towards you, Seda, you see this man grunt in pain. This time, he takes out another longer sort of dagger in the other hand, and he just comes at with you with both weapons bared. Tiva, you can see Seda running at you towards you after kicking you square in the stomach. What do you do?
Well, Tiva, hearing Seda say her name, just is so surprised that Seda, them being such good friends, would attack her like this. She's like, Seda, what the heck is wrong with you? And as Seda charges to her, Tiva is going to duck out of the way, is going to try to dodge her attack.
So as you're running towards this man, Seda, he sidesteps much faster than you could ever remember, much more agile than any dwarf you've seen, off to the side. And then you feel the bite of his blade in the back, across the back of your rib area, and then one on the back of your knee, another blade stabbing into the corner of your shoulder. Take 6 points of damage as you smack into this wall and turn around. All of this, Vendrick, you're seeing is Seda is attacking Tiva. She's stepping out of the way. It seems like Seda is literally in some sort of fight that you can't see. Off to the side, Zan's sort of lost in his own little world at the moment.
I don't see anything else. Any of these entities this powerful entity that I had assumed was potentially responsible for this.
Nope, you don't see, or you get this tickling, almost like your arm fell asleep sort of feeling, but you're not taking any damage, and you just have Zahn staring at you with this horrified look.
And they're inside the rooms or all in the hallway?
They're all inside the room. Zahn, I guess, would be kind of like in the doorway looking at you a few feet away.
Zorn, listen to me now. Can you hear me, Zorn? We must get off of this floor, for it is not since we came into these rooms that we were besieged by these foul magics. We will get to the bottom of it, Zorn. But you need to get your wits about you. I cannot do this alone.
What do I hear?
You can hear this. Zahn. Help me, Zahn. This beast is destroying me. Give me a magic save, Zahn.
Okay. No. Sure.
And you will just see what's bits of Vendrick as he screams for you to help him and to get this thing off of him.
Okay, so in that case, he lifts his ass up again and starts jumping at that thing. And his arms outstretched to grab what's left of Vendrick, even if it's just pieces. So basically, I'm probably jumping into poor Vendrick.
Yeah, and if Zahn clears the choke point of the doorway, I will begin to try and go inside to gather up the smaller two members that I can physically carry. Being Zahn is a lost cause to me. There's no way I could carry him.
Yes, you'll see Zahn just charge forth out of this room, almost like he's trying to grab a hold of you, but it's sort of down on the ground, like he's grabbing at nothing, sort of at your feet, basically, and seems to be scooping something up as he starts to run off down the hallway. You will see yourself picking up pieces of Vendrick, an arm, a bit of his cheekbone, a leg, and scooping up what you can and just running down this hallway towards and it looks just like the lower level of this building. To see the stairways coming down. You can see Torlak down there polishing part of the countertop as you carry pieces of Vendrick down the steps.
I whisper to his cheek in my arms, it will be fine. We will find help. There is powerful magic in Sigil. We will find a way. No worries, Vendrick. Can you hear me? Vendrick? It will be fine.
You will hear him saying all that, Vendrick, as he clip-clops down the hallway away from you.
My goal is to gather up the other two. My understanding or my thought process is if I can somehow get these two primers unconscious, it would increase the chances of them to no longer be affected by these magics. So I reach to my hip as I enter the room that's now open to me as the big barrier has left the choke point. My hand goes through the grip of the sword I saw in my illusionary fear dreams just moments before, and I shudder for a moment as I pull it forth, and I close in on the halfling and the dwarf inside with the intent to hit them over the head with the hilt of the sword, but they might not see it as such.
No, you can totally give me just a basic. Yeah, they're not even really a knowledge. Yeah, they don't even really know you're there. So
yeah, I'm going to club them over the head, try to knock them unconscious with the hopes that will end their affliction.
Because they're not. You can see they're sort of spar between one another, and Sada's currently in the process of trying to kick the shit out of the wall as Tiva looks on in this confusion, and then both of you will see this large ogre-like creature, this great bloated belly hanging out under this part of his torn shirt. He has a massive club in his hands. All around you is just pure blackness. It's like you're sitting in a sea of obsidian. You can see a very slight reflection under your feet, as if the floor was made of glass or black glass of some sort. And you see this huge ogre look at Sada. It looks over at Tiva for a moment, and just you feel this cracking smack across the back of your skulls Both of you take 1 point of damage, and you just see blackness and nothingness for a few moments. As both of them fall at your feet from the hilt of your sword, Vendrick, knocked out, cold.
Okay, so Tiva and Seda take 1 point of damage?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
I rescarbered my Viking arming sword, and as best I can, I throw the small female halfling over my shoulder, and I grab the metal ring of the steel armor of the dwarf and attempt the best I can to drag them free of this area, which I think potentially still could be a way to get them and us out of this situation. So I'm going to drag them out of the room and back towards downstairs.
Pulling Seda behind you, Tiva over one shoulder. You start coming downstairs. Below, you can see Zahn down at the base of the stairs. In front of him is this pile of his smoked meats and these pieces of bacon that he seems to be crying over, talking to it as if it was you, and saying that it's going to be all right, and caressing a piece of the smoked ham on one cheek. It looks like you just got pieces of Vendrick in front of you, Zahn, although he smells very smoky and delicious. And then you feel that calmness overwhelm you, this feeling that everything's going to be okay. And you can feel a tap, and as you turn, you see Torlak looking at you with this confused look. He says, "Izan, what you doing with my meat?" In your hand is this large chunk of smoked ham.
That's Vendrick. That's Vendrick. I have to find help. Do you have a powerful mage in this town?
Zahn, you just went and stole that from my oven.
What? No.
Can I have my
No.
my hat?
You don't understand. It looks burned, but it's not. It's Vendrick. I just gathered him upstairs. Something is going on up there. There's something running free and is attacking people. It's terrible. We have to close this whole business.
He'll sort of look around and sees you coming down the steps of Vendrick and gives you that confused sort of look. He says, "Eyes on Vendrick's coming down the steps. That's me ham."
2 years, you said he stayed in that place. He lasted 2 years. The madness. No wonder he ended up in the madhouse. There's something foul afoot, Master or Halfling. Something most foul.
What do I hear?
Exactly that. As you look and you have a large hunk of smoked ham in your hands, pieces of bacon flayed out on the ground in front of you. Some of it burnt, some of it cooked, some of it half-eaten by Seda. But then you see Vendrick coming down the steps, Tiva over one shoulder, Seda behind him, thumping down the stairs as he drags her down the steps.
Strong illusionary magic, son. It was all a dream. All a dream, son. You do dream, don't you?
I open my arms and I let Vendrick fall, or the bacon fall. And I look at that halfling, down to him. You take money for this?
You stole me ham, and I don't know what's going on. He says, "I was just trying to make breakfast. A lot of you have been up there for a good 4 hours. I hadn't heard a thing until all of the commotion, and then you come in and barge in about the Vendrick, and you're taking my ham out of the oven and running around out here like a crazy barrier. I'm just trying to make me breakfast."
I saw things.
As did we all.
A bit of a nightmare, perhaps. This is
Nonsense, Torlak.
Yes.
Quiet. There is the dust. I could sense it. The residue of magics are all up in the room. My room. I did not sense it in the other, for I only spent moments there to gather my friends. But the room I was in, room 12, there was a madness about. Unnatural. Were you responsible for it, Torlak?
He says, "No, of course not. I'm not even a magical person." He says, "I can barely light a fire, let alone a fireball." I don't know. I don't know. That is where Huron stayed. And then he went loony, apparently. I was not here when he tried to ride the judge like a horse.
Well, that explains a lot, though. That he's now out of his mind.
He says, you're the last people to stay here since Huron. Most of the others prefer not to come here and for vacation.
Oh,
Says we don't get many filled rooms.
You shouldn't let anyone go in there. Honestly, this was terrible. I rubbed my head.
Certainly. I'll have somebody cleanse the room. Perhaps a priest. I'll find somebody to take care of it. Haunted? Is it haunted? Perhaps.
Before the madness struck me, did I get a chance to replenish my spells?
Yeah, I'll say so. Yeah.
Haunted. Well, let us have a few questions. Please come join us. We will talk.
I'm going to cast ESP on him again and just ask him some questions. Again, this is a cheap-ass spell, but I'm going to ask him all about it and try to get a sense of if he is responsible.
He'll hurry over and he'll actually get some fresh orange juice and sets things up. And, if your boy or friend wishes to share the ham, it's plenty to eat. You can help yourselves.
We will recount our tales, each in turn. I will go first.
And I tell him in detail what I had seen in my dream state, my illusion, and how I was able to overcome it with strength of mind, and that I saw my companions also engrossed in the madness of being in that space, and that there was definitely something either within the building, which I don't believe to be the case, or an entity overlooking the building and overlooking us that were gripping us with this madness.
Yes, and do you mention the visage thing in your room?
Yeah, I tell him at the same time that before the madness gripped me, I was able to see this visage written upon the walls, and the residue of this illusionary magic was all about.
And I think I saw it. I saw the visage. It was white. It was white like a mask instead of a face, and it was very discomforting. And I saw you die.
Yes, I saw many people die in my illusionary dream as well as on. It was meant to grip us with fear. You were afraid, were you not? Unable to react. Weakened state of mind.
I wouldn't say fear, but yeah.
All the while, you'll watch Torlak. He seems to be listening with interest, but confusion, not quite understanding all of this. And he'll look over to Tifa and Seda. Well, what about the two of you? You'll see Seda's scorch mark across her chest. Seda, you have these wounds still apparent on your body, this bit of a blood on your shoulder, and the back of your knee is cut up a little bit, and you'll have a bit of a gash on the side of your rib cage. What the hell happened to the two of you? Yeah,
Are we awake? Ooh, hold on.
What was that?
Sorry, are we awake? I thought we were knocked out.
Nope, I don't know. Are you going to wake them up, Vendrick? I assumed you would to tell the tales and stuff.
Oh, for sure. I would take some water, splash upon their faces.
So yeah, you'll sort of have him wake you up and come to as they're telling their tales and stuff.
Okay. Well, she looks at her chest. She's, I had a terrible dream. It was what happened when we first went to the Heart's Rest, and I was injured, and it was terrible. And then Seda, she attacked me. I don't know why.
I didn't attack you. I attacked Borak because he was trying to kick my ass.
Well, Tiva looks at Seda and she says, "No, you were attacking me. Boros wasn't here."
None of it was real. None of it was real, Diva. Seda. Seemed real, did it not? The magics were powerful. More stronger than anything I have personally witnessed in my limited experience with the arcane arts.
It would be interesting to know if this was a attack on only Euron.
Well, surely there would be someone here that would like to hear about this, for I fear it does not really go with the order of the place, does it? What do you think, Torlak? Should we tell the authorities about our experiences within your establishment?
If you're thinking that it's of best interest, it'll be hours upon hours of forms and privilities and such things. But that perhaps explains what happened to Huron. Nobody's stayed here since then till the lot of you. And you do get that as you sort of read his mind, this just confusion and turn into more paranoia to worry about what's going to happen to his establishment, and this general sense of actually being sincerely worried about what happened to a lot of you as well. He says, I don't know. He says something is perhaps a banshee or something. He says, I'll hire somebody to take care of the place and perhaps cleanse it. Says, if you feel that we must go to the higher ups and report such things, then I will do so. But
okay, so let me get this right. The halfling that he knows and that the dwarf and the halfling had experienced, she was a god. She was the god that was the one that he fell in love with as well.
Correct.
And
yes.
that he now has this effigy built of in the establishment. Well, yep. I have to use this as my advantage to get rid of this, basically this shrine to this halfling deity. It has to go in my mind.
Torak, my friend, I think this place must be condemned. I am not the one to do it, but I will go through the paperwork. I think for the good of the mental state of any friends that you offer rooms to, as you offered those to us, it would not sound good to the authorities that you gave us free room and board into a situation that would cause us to lose our mental state of well-being. Maybe you should close the place down for a while.
You can feel and sense this panic, and his jaw sort of drops as he looks at you, his eyes widen up. Look around at this place that is his shrine to his beloved.
I think it's time for you to move on. You said you've been to Sigil. I would invite you to come stay with me at any point. You said you did not enjoy the place anymore. Maybe we can find another inn, a place for you to build anew. But let her go. Let her go. She is gone. She has been gone for a long time. It's only madness remains. Maybe the madness upstairs is a representative of the madness you face of losing your love. It's time for you to let go, cut your losses, close the place. At the very least, lose the shrine.
I say in this orator facet, like trying to put impassioned speech in it.
You'll see this look of loss and despair, and it slowly kind of turns into one of almost understanding as he's listening to you. And he says, Vendrick, do you think that this is all because of me, a manifestation of my loss and my desire to? Is this because of me? Did I cause this to? Says I
am a man of magic, Master Halfling, and there was magic that I encountered upstairs. Magic of loss, magic of despair, magic of depravity. It could be one and the same. Again, I am not the authorities. I cannot force this upon you, but maybe you should not want to bring them down at your doors, or you too may end up in the nutter.
Oh, maybe you can't have that. I think perhaps you're right, Vendrick. Perhaps I do need to let this go, and I'll take you up on this offer to perhaps have a place to stay, and perhaps we could be friends, one friend to another, and you can just. I only need a few days, and maybe I can get back on my feet. And I don't want to see this happen to more of the people. I feel so bad for Huron if I did this to him, and please be sure to check on him. We need to make haste and make sure he's okay. Says, I'll handle the building. I says, I'll close it up like you said. I think that may be for the best.
I think you made a wise choice. You do like paperwork, yes?
What?
Because that's what he's gonna do if he goes work with me.
Not quite, honestly, but I'll do what I must, of course.
Very well. We really should get rid of this, though. She is gone. She is gone. You must release your pain and fear. Do you have an axe?
I'll look at Vendrick. Uh-huh.
He'll shake his head. No, I have a bit of a dagger underneath the counter, but I don't carry weapons. There's no need here in Automata to do such things.
How big is this this shrine to this halfling deity?
It'd be like a human-sized wooden statue.
No, maybe the fire then.
The fire? We can't burn the place, Vendrick.
No, not the place. Just the statue. Just the statue for now, Torlak. We must get rid of the statue.
He says, but I carved that myself. What if I just sell it for a bit of money? It'll help in the move.
Nah, it must be destroyed. It could be the source of the magics. It may be. It just may be.
Hi.
You'll see this.
Sorry, that was
Great.
that was my son.
A small halfling comes out from the back room.
Yeah.
Torlak's look of despair sort of washes over as he looks from Tiva to Seda and Zan, trying to get what you guys think. Maybe some like reassurance this is the right thing.
Oh, Zan is not the right place for that. He's like looking between Vendrick and Torlak, like, He doesn't know what's going on.
In the moments, I cast another spell if I can, and she's do a few hand gestures, trying to do it like subtly. Again, it's very difficult potentially, but I'm going to do it. And I'm going to cast Unseen Servant, and I'm going to get the Unseen Servant to start to shake the statue in like a poltergeist type of way.
He'll look at this thing, this bit of horror on his face as he doesn't. The place must be cursed and haunted by these things. Yes, Vendrick, you're right. Let's get rid of this place. I'll go down and fill out the paperwork. And Zan, you look like a strong fella. You and the lady halfling and dwarf. Could you get rid of the thing?
Yeah.
All your life has been I've been a fool.
Do we need paperwork to destroy this?
Yes, but I think it's best if it's done quickly. I'll handle the rest of it. He'll hop down from his chair. Just all of you get out of this place. Perhaps we will meet down at I'll meet you at the Clink in a couple hours. And he'll quickly just run out the back door.
Vendrick, are you sure that we need to destroy that statue?
I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Well, Tiva, being tired of the dreams that she had, goes over to the statue and starts trying to hack at it with her daggers, trying to destroy it.
I'll look down at Seda. Maybe you should help her doing it right.
Seda be standing there just kind of fidgeting with her hands, trying to figure out exactly what happened. And possibly getting the idea now that it may have been that she was attacking her own friend, which of course has her completely distraught. Because it was her best friend. So she would look up at Zan and just kind of be like, yeah, sure, okay. And then just walk over and just using her impressive strength would just push the thing over onto the floor, and which I'm assuming I could probably do given the strength I've got. And then immediately just hook an arm under and just like lift one end of it and just start walking toward the door and dragging it along the floor.
See over in the corner where the hearth and fireplace is going, and assuming Vendrick probably motions for you to go burn the thing like he had intended. So,
is it stone or wood?
The statue is wood.
Oh, well, that
It's
makes
carved
it
up.
easier.
Yep.
Yeah, well, she'll do whatever, and she just kind of looks, gives these guilty looks at Tiva. Doesn't really say anything, and then just drags the statue wherever she's supposed to take it to catch it on fire.
It'll give off this burning smoke. As you toss it into the fireplace, maybe breaking it up a few pieces. You do get this very strong sense of guilt. Even Seda's, you're looking at this perfectly manifested carve of Fenfrey Butterspoon, looking exactly like you remember as well. Much bigger. I mean, it's human size, but still has that exact personality and look to it as you toss it into the flames.
As they're doing that, I look at Vendrick, and you see that his mind is really working hard right now. And then he says, Vendrick, do you think because they killed the halfling god that all her effigies are cursed now?
I don't know about all of them, Zahn, but I do believe this one is. And this one is enough for now.
That's a terrible thought.
Yes, it's been a terrible day, Zahn. Terrible, terrible day.
Are you guys?
I got like a crooked smile crosses my face.
Are you guys speaking aloud as you talk?
Yeah,
about
like
that?
normal, yeah.
So as she's kicking like parts of it in there, you hear her kind of Seda would kind of grumble without even looking, and just kind of reiterate the fact in a somewhat angry manner that you would just hear her say, we didn't kill her. And then she'd like kick the thing in there some more, like she's kind of pissed off at having to do the whole thing now.
Yeah, every time she corrects him, he just looks at her like, yeah, like nodding, not really paying attention.
You didn't kill her. You just shoving her statue into the fireplace. It looks real.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
And yeah, with that, you guys burn the statue of Fenfrey Butterspoon, halfling goddess of travel and joy, into a husk of ash and tinder. Outside, you can see the windows lighting up a little bit as this outlandish sun starts to rise. The beginning of another morning. And yeah, I was going to call it there with if anybody wants to make any final things. Seems like a good spot to end.
Sada's kicking the last of the statue into the fire. She's kind of got like slightly wet-eyed, and she's kicking it in there, and she would look over at Tiva and just make a comment. She's like, if I was attacking you, I'm really, really sorry, but I thought it was someone else and I couldn't see, and I really don't like this place anymore, and I really want to go home.
And Tiva looks at her and she says, no, I understand. I understand that we are in a realm that is beyond comprehension, and I know it wasn't me that you were really attacking. And I'm really sorry about what you experienced. But I'm ready to go home too.
I just want to go back to smashing orcs. They're much easier.
Any last things, Zahn or Vendrick?
No, I'm quite contented to gather myself and make good my way towards the nut house where Huron the Countess Plethora Subacomata is being held.
And I grab some of the pieces of Vendrick, the bacon. We're on the way.
Nice. All right. Let's call it there then. So thank you, fellas. Let me stop this broadcast.